President Biden and China's Xi Jinping meeting today after years of rising tensions surrounding surveillance, trade, and Taiwan independence. The two are meeting for the first time in person in more than a year. Talks are still underway. Joining us now is Dennis Unkovic, attorney, business advisor, and author of Transforming the Global Supply Chain. So, Dennis, thanks so much for joining us. Maybe just to start, Dennis, 30,000-foot view, how would you define a successful meeting here, Dennis? What would you want to see come out of it?
Josh, let me say first that I think this might be the most important meeting between a U.S. president and a Chinese leader since Nixon went to China. Because back then, China was on the bottom. It had lots of problems, and the U.S. was being nice to it, and we created a relationship. Now you have two countries that are more equally looking at each other. So when you say, what's going to come out of this meeting? Honestly, I am very, very cautious in thinking that anything significant will come out of this, except in the military area.
Dennis, how important is the vibe out of this? I don't know really how else to ask this, because as you say, concrete agreements on specific issues will likely be difficult to come by. But as you say, it's a very important meeting, not because of those specifics necessarily that are expected to come out of it, but because of some sort of rapprochement, right?
Julie, I don't think there's going to be a rapprochement. What I think you're going to have is China now saying, I'm equal to you as the United States. I wanted to be treated as an equal. I think the U.S. is going to do that. But a lot of what Xi Jinping wants, Biden either can't deliver or won't deliver. Take the Chinese economy, for example. It's really, really in bad shape. A third of their economy is based upon real estate. And as you've covered on your show here before, that's really in the dumps. The long-term answer to this relationship is, I think, in the military area. The one thing I would like to see come out of this is this. When Nancy Pelosi went to Taiwan and the Chinese said, don't go, don't go, Xi Jinping said that, she went anyway, we cut off the relationship between the U.S. military and the Chinese military. Now, why is that important? If we had an event, a plane crashes, a ship is hit by a Chinese ship, that's when the military has to talk to each other. So if there's one thing I'm looking to come out of this meeting, it's that the two leaders say, okay, we can't solve anything, but let's start there. That would be my top priority.
You know, Dennis, we've got a lot of CEOs who come on Yahoo Finance, and for many of them across multiple sectors and industries, China is an important market. It's a key link in their supply chain. It's a key end market. They've got a lot of customers over there. When you look long term, Dennis, 5 years, 10 years out, is China going to remain a big, large opportunity for Western companies? Or do you think, no, looking ahead, it's going to be smaller, narrower, low margin?
Josh, it's a great question. I think over the long run, and I'm not talking about 2 years, I'm talking about 10 years now, China will become less important as a source for buying U.S. goods and importing from China. There are lots of reasons for that, but one of the reasons is Xi Jinping essentially wants to make Chinese companies dominant. That's why Apple, as you know, Tim Cook was there, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he's not coming to the dinner tonight. When he was there, he was saying, please, let's do more business together. But the Chinese want to, Huawei, their competitor with Apple, they're promoting those. As a matter of fact, the Chinese government announced recently that they're going to encourage Chinese workers who work for the government, that's about 2 million people, to buy Huawei products, not those products. So in the long run, I think the U.S. companies have to look obviously to selling to China, but I do not think that they should rely as heavily on China as they had in the past, either as a supplier or as a purchaser.
And Dennis, what are you hearing from your clients? Are they hearing that message? Are they, in fact, trying to diversify a little bit more away from China?
If you asked me the question 2 years ago, the answer was no. The answer today is yes. There have been some studies done recently that up to 60% of U.S. companies are thinking about reshoring. That doesn't mean they're going to leave China, Julie, but it means, well, if I'm sole sourcing out of China, let me put it somewhere else. So I think in the U.S., Mexico, and Canada, the USMCA, we're going to see lots more companies that are American or North American either stay here or bring some of their sourcing back here. That's what I think is really going to happen. But again, I'm talking longer term. There's no way that any American company can say, I don't want China as a market. I'm not going to do any business there. But over the long run, they're going to have to focus on other industry, other areas. Like India is a good potential thing. Look at what Apple has done. A lot of their sourcing for their new iPhones is not going to be coming out of China. It's going to be coming out of India.
Dennis Unkovic, thank you so much for joining us today, Dennis, for that time and insight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Julie.